Hello, I am Isaac, the Toolbox Community Manager, and welcome to Step 3 in our how-to tutorials for the Toolbox. The Toolbox is an 8-step process designed to help you implement a sustainability strategy in your organisation, whatever the size or sector. In this video, we will be taking you through all the resources in Step 3 of our Toolbox methodology. The assets contained within Step 3 include the how-to guide, the quick guide, the case studies, and 2 templates, the stakeholder mapping template and the stakeholder survey. Before we get started, you will need to create an account on the Toolbox website to access our resources. Click the link in the description below to sign up now. This step of the Toolbox process is designed to help you engage with stakeholders and reflect effectively on those interactions. Continuously communicating with internal and external stakeholders is key to the success of your sustainability program. So, let's jump into stakeholder engagement. We can think of stakeholder engagement as a constant conversation with individuals and entities connected to your organisation. This quick guide, available as part of the resources in Step 3, is a concise visual reference to help aid you in engaging and acting alongside your stakeholders. Like the top tip here says, you should allow your stakeholders to lead the conversation. The how-to guide, as shown here, offers more in-depth guidance on the step, showing how to approach using the tools and outlining their purpose and requirements. I feel this IOC Essentials quote really sums up what we're trying to do with stakeholder engagement here. They say that sustainability cannot be pursued in isolation, and it is, by definition, an outward-looking approach that actively seeks input from people both inside and outside your organisation. There are also case studies that illustrate how others have used the tools in this step, giving you a like-for-like example of how to go through the process. The 2 templates in this step will help you gauge what's important to those who have an interest in your organisation and take stock of the existing endeavours they have made. Our first template has been designed to help you identify and prioritise your stakeholders, deciding for each which the best appropriate course of communication will be. This will also help you include the broadest set of voices, which will eventually inform the scope and boundaries of your sustainability program. So, let's go into our toolbox and dig in to our first template, which is the stakeholder mapping template. Before we dive into the tool, we first need to understand what a stakeholder is. A stakeholder is any person or group who is positively or negatively impacted or impacts your projects, initiatives, or policies. The mapping template should be used to paint a picture of who your stakeholders are before reaching out to them with the survey. Your stakeholder map should continue to evolve after you have obtained your stakeholder survey results, and as you interact with your stakeholders and discover new things about them, or as you interact with new stakeholders. The stakeholder mapping template contains 4 activities split into 4 tabs. They are the stakeholder map, prioritization, stakeholder survey results, and the engagement tracker. In the first tab, the map has been created to help users consider the different sectors their stakeholders exist within. You can see here I have added some examples to show you how it works. You can group stakeholders in a way that is logical to your organisation. To create the group names, you can change them in the Lists tab. These will then be pulled through and added to your stakeholders map and other tabs in the template. For example, if I enter supply chain into this cell here, it will appear in the stakeholder map. Then, by clicking the drop-down arrows in the stakeholder group cells, you can then copy and paste your stakeholders into the map by pasting using the values only. Now that you've identified all of your stakeholders, it's time to prioritise them and identify how best to communicate with them going forward. You will see that the list of stakeholders and their groups have been automatically pulled through into this sheet, ready to be assessed by you, the user. To make sure our prioritization is objective, we must establish a criteria. Returning to the List tab, you can see that I have defined both influence and interest with criteria that is relevant to my organisation. Here, in column A, you can also tailor the different types of influence your stakeholders have on the realisation of your sustainability strategy, outlining the capacity in which they work with your organisation. Your level of importance describes which stakeholders are priority for the implementation of your strategy. It is a score generated by multiplying your influence and interest scores. The higher the score, the more attention should be given to the stakeholder. You can then use the prioritization graph at the bottom of the page to discover how you should interact with them and add it to column G, how to engage and manage. Through this analysis of our stakeholders, we can also consider the changing relationships we might have with them. Do you work with them on initiatives already? Are you looking for new suppliers and these are potential suppliers? Is there a way to maximize the support that they give to meet your sustainability objectives? Or is there a way you can align on mutual sustainability objectives? These are some of the questions that you may wish to consider. The Stakeholder Survey tab is for you to collate all of the responses to your stakeholder and staff survey questions. At the bottom of both the staff survey and the stakeholder survey, you are prompted to summarize each respondent's answers. The summary line can be copied and pasted directly into the Stakeholder Survey Results tab. So what do you do with all this information once it's here? Well, in step 4, we will be pulling through these issues into the issues matrix. You will see on the right here there is a column to check if you have taken that respondent into consideration when mapping out the issues. The Stakeholder Engagement Tracker is used to track ongoing communication with your stakeholders. Here you can record key takeaways from your interactions, outlining joint initiatives, noting discussed targets, and exploring methods of delivery. Recording this information, you will be able to demonstrate to your stakeholders how you are addressing common issues and arrive prepared for the next engagement. Try to summarize the issues and the opportunities that have been discovered during your interaction, and also the knowledge gaps and how you intend to resolve them. When collecting these summaries of your interactions, you may find it useful to give the stakeholder a copy too, so that next time you have an interaction, you're both on the same page. Interacting with your stakeholders is key to your sustainability program. Now that we know who to talk to, our next template, the Stakeholder Survey, is designed to help initiate the dialogue with your stakeholders. This template allows you to start a conversation with your external stakeholders and get feedback about how your program will impact and align with your stakeholders' interests. The survey helps you build up a profile for each stakeholder, explore the issues and sustainability priorities that they have, and generate ideas and actions to meet those priorities. It should be noted that you can tailor these questions to suit your own organisation and processes. Using the Prioritization tab in the Stakeholder Mapping template, you will have already decided the best way to communicate with your stakeholders, through interviews or one-to-one calls, or using the survey straight away. You should use the survey to guide the questions that you want to ask. Alternatively, you may find it more appropriate to take some of the questions from this template and put it into a survey application of your choice. Please note that you will need to extract this data afterwards to inform the issues matrix in step 4. So make sure that it's an application that you are comfortable using and extracting the data from. As described at the bottom of the stakeholder survey, the results should then be summarized in rows 119 and 120, and the information copied over into the Stakeholder Survey tab in the Stakeholder Mapping template. This will help us track interactions and contribute to discovering the issues your organisation will tackle in step 4, ensuring all stakeholder voices are heard. So those are our tools in step 3. If you need any further help with our tools or assets, you can just send us an email to info@sustainabilitytoolbox.com and we'll be happy to help and support you there. You should now have a clear understanding of how to classify, analyse and evaluate your stakeholders and your stakeholder relationships, and be ready to move on to step 4, identifying the issues.